Hello and welcome to the second part of our first lesson here. So, yesterday we worked on becoming comfortable writing two signs there side by side as one sign, which then allowed us to solve the problems. So, in today's examples, the first one's just write the following expressions by removing the double signs. So we did this yesterday. I want you to go through it one more time as a warm-up. So just some examples here. So -5 plus -6. So the equivalent expression here are the double signs that I'm talking about. We know from yesterday that if we're adding a negative number, it's the same as just subtracting it. All right, so I'm not even worried about you actually doing the answers here. I want you to get rid of those double signs first. If we have +2 minus -6, so again, the double signs, challenging to work with or tricky to work with. Rewriting it, we know that if you're subtracting a negative, we went through and showed yesterday, that's the same as just adding it. So it ends up being +2 plus 6. Third example, if we had +5 and we are subtracting +2, the result here with those double signs, if you're subtracting a positive, and you went through and did this yesterday, it's the same as just taking or subtracting 2. All right, so that's all we're really doing with that double sign. So now I want you to try doing some of the calculations. And as I said, the numbers are small, so I want you to try it without the calculator. Feel free to use fingers. I also have some number lines handy that you can put in your booklet. So first of all, number 1, let's go with -3 minus -4. So the first thing you have to do is you need to remove the double sign. So we end up with -3 plus 4. If you need to use your number line, no problem there. So we have -3, -2, -1, 0, 1. I know that I'm starting at -3. I'm adding, so that means you always move to the right on the number line. 4 spaces, 2, 3, 4. So that means that our result or answer will be a 1. Okay? If in doubt, you draw a diagram. There's no problem or no shame in drawing a diagram because you're better to be right than not get the right answer. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, I'm just making some room here. So number 2 then. Let's go with +5 plus -3. So again, I always recommend get rid of that double sign first. So we end up with +5, and if you're adding a negative from yesterday, we know that's just the same as subtracting 3. So we have 5, we subtract 3, so you're holding up 5 fingers, take away 3 of them, you end up with 2. Okay, so you can use your fingers as manipulatives, you can draw a diagram, use the number line, it's whatever you're comfortable with, all right? This will come with practice as we go through this whole semester. You're going to get better and better at it. You got to just trust me with that. So -6, and what's another combination here? Let's subtract +4. So again, that double symbol, we're subtracting a positive. If you are able to get rid of that double sign, then you can do any of these questions. So -6, take away 4. So if you need the number line again, we have -6 here, -7, -8, -9, -10. So we're starting at -6. Because it's subtraction, you always move left on the number line. So we're going to move left 4 spaces, and our final answer is -10. All right. When we get into the larger, more complicated numbers, you're going to be more than welcome to use the calculator. But I'm still going to ask, even if you're using the calculator, you're still going to rewrite this double symbol like this before you use the calculator, because there's no calculations there, and it's less error. So, final slide that I have here to look at is a word problem. So there are a couple of word problems that I want you to give a try with today. So the first one, Jimmy's working in a mine, 200 meters deep. Always start with the picture. Okay, so I'm going to draw my picture over here. Okay, it doesn't have to be a fancy picture. So here's the surface, and here's Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. And Jimmy is 200 meters deep. Now, usually if you take any science course or any future math courses, we always assume that the surface is 0 meters. So where you're standing or sitting right now, we consider that to be 0 meters. If you go up, you would be increasing in height, so you'd have positive numbers. So that means if we go down underground, Jimmy is going to be at negative 200 meters. All right. Now, he's asked to report to the main office, which is up levels. So we got to go to the main office. So here's the office underground. It's like a troll or a dwarf company here, where they're always mining. And 75 meters deep. So the office is still underground, but it's up here, so negative 75 meters. All right, so we want to draw a diagram to represent it. So actually we answered question A. Okay, we gave ourselves a picture. Okay, express Jimmy's height as integers with the ground level being 0. So my B part actually goes over here. So he started, where did he start? He started at negative 200 meters, and he finished at negative 75 meters. So that means that he went up towards the surface. So he moved upward. So we've already actually done that. My B part is actually on the diagram. Why complicate things, right? Here's our B part right here. Okay, our B part, we've got it on there already. Here's the negative 200 meters. Here's the negative 75 meters over here. No sense making it more complicated than it is. So that's B as well. So the nice thing with the diagram, it covers parts A and B. Now we want to calculate Jimmy's change in depth underground. So we want to calculate the change in depth. So we want to know, what is this distance? What is this distance? All right, so to find that, here's a formula that you can keep in the back of your head. It's not an official formula, but it's always your starting point subtract your finish point, and that's always equal to the change. So if you want to know how much you've changed in distance, you always subtract where you started to where you finished. So if that's our formula, so starting point was negative 200 minus our finishing point was negative 75. So negative 200 was the starting point. All right, so this is where he started. And up here's where he finished. We have double symbols, double signs. So we're going to clean that up. Negative 200 plus 75. Now feel free to pull out a calculator if you want. Okay, if we do that, negative 200 plus 75, we end up with negative 125. And I think, yeah, I just did that backwards. I have time to fix it. All right. You're lucky you're not copying this note down. I do have to apologize with that. Made a mistake. That's why you don't do this stuff on Mondays when you do these notes. So it's finish point minus start point. I'll explain why it was a mess up. And you'll probably, some of you probably looking at that saying, yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So it's your finish point minus your start point. You always subtract where you finished from where you started. That was just absolute brain cramp on my part, and I apologize. So like I said, you're lucky you're not copying the note down. You don't have to erase anything. So the finishing point. We finished at negative 75. minus, we started at negative 200. Nothing's really changed in terms of the double sign. We're still dealing with two negatives. So we have negative 75 plus 200. And again, you're still going to use the calculator, and you're going to find that you get 125. Now, you're going to be saying, well, you almost got that answer before. Actually, I didn't. I got negative 125. Remember, with the system we have set up over here, if you go up, you are going positive. If you are going down, you are going negative. When I got my answer, my first answer was negative 125. That tells me he went 125 meters deeper than where he was. And when I was using my thinking skills, I'm sitting there thinking, no, that can't be right. Why would he didn't go deeper? I know from my picture he actually went up. He should have went up a positive amount. And that's when I realized that I made a bonehead mistake way back here and realized my formula is backwards for some bizarre reason. So I had to switch my formula, and I wanted to make sure you guys have the right formula. So then that's how I figured out I made a mistake. Now it's a positive 125, which means he would be going upward, which makes sense. He is going to go up 125. So the only thing that we need to finish this example off is a therefore statement. So therefore, Jimmy had to go up 125 meters in the mine. All right, so remember this 4-word problem. I'm probably going to tell you to do a diagram, so that's going to go without saying. B part, if you're not sure if the information's on the graph or whether I want something else, always ask. And then C, make sure when you do a calculation for a word problem only, you have to put your therefore statement. And I'm going to remind you because this is something that sometimes we forget about as we go through. All right, we're going to double check our understanding coming up, and we'll see you in the next video.